What's good, everybody? Sean Sholove Rosenberg in the building. Back at you with another video. Well, it seems to me one of our hip-hop pioneers decided to speak on the current state of hip-hop. So, Krs-One. If you guys don't know who Krs-One is, he's a hip-hop pioneer. Excuse me. He's a hip-hop pioneer that rose to fame into the mid-1980s. Of course, a legend himself, and also is not afraid that's not afraid to speak out and speak his mind. So he did an interview with B.R.G, and he highlights the current state of hip hop that's been going on. So we're gonna play this video on what this really means, and and what this means to me as a genuine hip hop fan. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
And that's the future. That's a good way to end right there. I echo all of your views and sentiments. That is the future. Edutainment, the blueprint. Be yourself. Come on, all the way around. And big shout out to Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
on
congratulations.
As well. Congratulations, big. You're right about that in terms of the layers and all of that and what was actually being said. In a lot of ways, I thought he sacrificed himself at the
in a way,
because he
now.
Yeah, no, I mean it didn't matter really, but he the message sometimes get in the way of just rocking the party, and I suffer from that sometimes. But it was what you had said about the innovation, and I just want to direct artists to that kind of thought. Be yourself, be original. You may be influenced by a certain blueprint or so on, which you was just saying.
And that's what I like. He said, be original. Why can a lot of artists be original? Why they have to follow trends and follow the leader? Why can't you just be original and do your own and follow your own and find a sound that you can influence? There's nothing, like you said, there's nothing wrong with influence. But where's the originality? Where is the authenticity? And where is like the realness? Because I have been speaking out on this a lot on social media, especially on Twitter, a few times. I have always said, what happened to artists stepping out in their lane and trying something different? I always tell my friend, I always tell a lot of people, including my friend, a friend of mine. I told her, we need a new sound. We need somebody to bring a new sound that can elevate hip hop. Because if we just stay in one place, in one dimension, it's not going to get hip hop anywhere. I've been saying this for a long time, even before I started doing YouTube. I have been saying this. We want change. But everybody just staying stagnant and not progressing. I always say about female artists. When is a new female artist going to step out of there, going to come in and change the landscape where to the point we don't need to keep being repetitive? Because in the female rap scene, all we see is just people talking about the same, like their body parts all the time. All the female rappers talk about that. That's the reason why I have Glorilla as my favorite artist in terms of today's time, a female artist. I don't want her to follow in that step of doing what any other women, because what the other female rappers are doing. Because when she came out, she was more aggressive, more hardcore. I want her to stay in that element. I don't want her to fall into what other female rappers are doing the body parts and the dirty rap and stuff. I want her just to stay authentic and being different from other female artists. That's what I want to see out of her. I don't want her to follow in the footsteps of that. But let's continue with the video.
But you have to find you in that. You
Right.
can't just copy the blueprint or attempt to, or copy somebody else. I hear across the table here, originality and authenticity is the future of hip hop.
And
That exactly. That's what I've been saying. Where are the artists that are authentic? Where are those artists at? The music is just so repetitive. It's so out of touch. Every album that I listen to, it just sounds so repetitive. It just keeps saying the same thing over and over. I remember, I don't know who tweeted this, but whoever tweeted this, the first person to tweet this out, either if it's a long time ago or it's just recent, someone tweeted that every time an artist drops an album, it sounds like one whole song on the whole album. Like all the songs sound, it's just the same repetitive bars and same the repetitive lyrics and the concepts. It basically sounds like one song on a whole album. And that's my frustration. I don't like that. That's the reason why I go back to more of the 90s and the 2000s, because every song and artist that were back in the 90s and even in the 2000s, every song they drop is something different. Yeah, do they have the same kind of subject matter concepts? They do. For example, 50 Cent is a perfect example. When he dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, yeah, he did talk about the gangster, the street stuff in his music, but he also talked about other things. Like he has a record called "If I Gotta Make It to Heaven," was more into a spiritual concept. Then he had a song catered to the women, 21 Questions. Then he had a party song dedicated to, turning up into the club. Then he had a song called Mini Man where he talks about his personal life and what happened to him back in the 2000s of him, almost being unalive. And then it's like 50 was telling a story in each different song, but in a uniqueful way. That's a perfect example. Every artist, they didn't sound the same. And especially in the 2000s, they didn't sound the same. They had their own flavor. Yeah, they wasn't being like repetitive like we see in a lot of artists today's time. Yeah, they was a little bit, but not completely to the point they talked about the same thing over and over. But as time went on, but like back to 50, the time went on, it did get mad repetitive when he talked about the gangster talk in his music. It's kind of like, okay, we get the gangster talk. Is there anything else you got in store to talk about? That's the thing. Where is the authenticity and originality? Where is that at? But let's continue with the video.
what's scary is that you don't hear so much of that right now with but a handful of artists.
But a handful.
You know, so hopefully,
If
you
that,
know, I think Kendrick is setting a bar now for
Right.
that to go up. And like, if you ain't coming with this type of shit,
Right.
then sit down.
Right.
Or
Because-
come with whatever you love and go a different area. You got his fans over here, you might have yours over here.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
it's time to be inspired, I think, man, because there's been a lot of that mediocrity accepted in
Accepted
the
is the
music
key.
right now.
Accepted.
I mean, when a person
Right.
rapped off beat back in the early days to now, you'd be getting ridiculed. You wouldn't even put a record out, and now that shit is celebrated.
Right.
And we need
And
to
the
do
more
better on.
offbeat you are, the more celebrated.
Yeah, that shit is crazy to me.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So, but you know, everything goes in cycles, and I think that we're going to do better. The generations, you know, coming after us will eventually do better.
I have faith in that. You said the key thing, and it's profound what you just said. You said when we were growing up, the elders, you know, didn't like our music either. I mean, remember, this was all 3 more years, it's over, okay? And here we are today, looking at the youngin', same way.
Saying the same.
Y'all look crazy. But you said a key thing. We were right.
Absolutely.
So why not have faith in young people in that way as well? They might be right
In their world.
in their world.
World is now.
Well, this is the thing. No, wait a minute. We were right in the world.
Right. I agree with that.
Okay, like there was no algorithms back in the days in that sense. Okay, no, hip hop took the world. Our youngins might want to pay attention. We're all getting caught up in algorithms, you know, because you said something else about this one has 1 million fans, but you may have, if you just be yourself, you may have 1 million fans because you said something that everybody thought, and you know,
We're all different.
we're all different.
We're all different. That's what I'm being said. That's what I got to say. Every fan base is going to love what they love. I'm not saying, like, you know, that I believe Drake lost that originality. He had that in the beginning. Now I'm about to go to Drake. He had that in the beginning of his career. He lost that once he started to adapt and ride on other people's wave. And Joe Budden even talked about this. Joe Budden, I remember Joe Budden says Views came out. When Views came out, Joe Budden said something. He criticized it. And he said 40 continues to progress and Drake doesn't. That Drake used to push the wave. Not push the wave. That Drake starts the wave, but he starts riding on other people's wave. And Drake right now is using that same tactic with this new album. Now, personally, I didn't check the album because I made it perfectly clear that I would never bump Drake's music again because I lost respect for him. Now, that doesn't automatically mean I hate Drake, period. I just lost respect for him. Now, I can still talk good about Drake regardless of me losing respect because of that defamation suit. But it does not, I'm not going to say he was indeed the biggest thing when he first came out. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that. I had to fix my lip for a second. But he was the biggest thing when he first came out. He started to become a huge name. I was bumping Drake in middle school. When I was in 8th grade, I could not escape Drake. He had his own sound. That's the reason why his earliest work is so much more addicting than the newer and recent work that he's dropping, especially with this recent album. Now, like I said, I haven't checked out the album because I lost all respect for Drake. Because because he filed for that defamation, that made me not listen to him anymore. Now, I've been hearing reviews and mixed reception from this collab album he dropped with Party Next Door, his artist. Then I also seen on Twitter that Drake kind of outsold Kendrick for just only one day. And after that, Drake's numbers, the album numbers, decreased. 44.1% decrease. it just shows that Drake is trying to play this victim card and trying to use this as desperation to try to get back on top, which is not working, which is why it's derailing that. Because, and like I said, I think Drake kind of fell off in terms of creative side. Now, he didn't fell off completely. When it comes to the numbers, he's probably going to do that. He's still forever going to do that. He's still going to do big numbers. Regardless, his back catalog is going to always do the numbers, but his new ones is starting to struggle now. That's the reason why this collab album he dropped is struggling now. And there's been reported that Kendrick is back on top again. Drake only took Kendrick out for one day and then just led to Kendrick coming back on top. Because Drake is not being authentic and original. He keeps going and following that same format from his previous albums that he dropped that has not been hitting. And that's the thing. And that becomes the problem. But yeah, I just want to get that out. But Kendrick is back on top. I did hear that GNX is now back to being number one with nearly 50,000 copies, you know. And then it's also been reported that Kendrick has now 3 albums are in the top 10 on the Billboard 200. That means Good Kid, Mad City, and Damn has went back on the charts, and now I think they're in the top 10. Also, it's been reported that Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is back in the top 100, which, you know, it's still a good look, but, you know, being in the 100, nearly around the hundreds is, you know, I'm not saying, yeah, I don't want to get into that. But yeah, and I'm also hearing reports that Not Like Us is going to go back on the charts again. That's going to be back in the number 1 spot, which shows that Kendrick has always said, we let the music speak for itself. Kendrick doesn't have to go on social media and brag about numbers. He lets the music speak for itself. And I already know all you Drake glazers are going to be like, oh, it's because of bots. No, it's because he lets real authentic music speak for itself. But yeah, I just wanted to go on that little rant for a second. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Do y'all think Krs-One is speaking facts that more rappers need to be more authentic and original and stop all the copy pasting and following trends? But yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of rappers need to stop doing that because it makes the music look more terrible than ever. But yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Also follow me on my social media platforms above my head. And also join the Discord in the description. So, without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.